All right, I'm ready.
Alrighty, so if you actually look, you'll notice that the title is just a little bit different than how you phrased the question to me, because I actually thought of something I want to bring up as well.
Okay.
OnlyFans impact on dating life. So, on the rebound, episode 1, gotta start with one of the most controversial things out there right now. That would only make sense for us.
Of course.
So, this was originally your question, so I'm gonna let you take it off here.
All right. So first, what's up? How y'all doing? I'm Quan. Truths Out of Context. Go check us out. And also, when people talk about dating someone with an OnlyFans, in a sense, first of all, most people don't even know what the hell OnlyFans was originally for. It was for sexual content, but now people are actually taking it and starting to use it for like music. Or look at my cosplays of Cruella de Vil and Maleficent. Like it wasn't originally for that shit.
I
But
did see some people actually have like podcasts and stuff on there too. That
like,
shit's wild.
and it's I swear. And the funny thing is, whenever I look on there, it's literally becoming more and more prevalent. Like, especially over like quarantine, everybody just wants to try to make some money, and they'll just be like, "Oh, if I can get people to just look at bikini pics or whatnot, then all the girls are just like, cool. Like, I don't gotta post nothing crazy." When they don't understand what the principle of it is.
I do feel like it depends on what is on there. I will say bikini pinks and stuff. Like, to be honest, in personally my relationship, dude, if you're posting bikini pics, we both know this bitch posting the bikini pics on like Instagram or something. You might as well get paid for that. Is when we go a little bit further than that. It's the lingerie, that sort of stuff. It's overstepping what your partner's okay with that I feel like has a issue there. You know.
Yeah, I swear, cause I remember this one. I remember this one chick. She literally like it was this dude who messaged her. I think the girl's from Canada, and she literally said something like, some dude literally said he would send her $1,500 for foot pics, and she did it. And now she's going message saying that this dude keep messaging me, harassing me, he won't leave me alone, and X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I'm not saying that it's right
There's a
to
block
harass
button for a
people.
reason.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you got your fucking feet money, bro. You need to GG go next, man.
For real. And even though like people go post with it, what a post like, Rob, let me ask you, like, especially with all the weird stuff, like, imagine this. You go in the room and you see a girl with a video camera up, and you like, what are you doing? And she said a dude's gonna send her 10,000 to send a video of her stuffing like a whole cucumber down her throat. You gonna be cool with that?
Oh, now we're getting to like the line. This is it. 'Cause, I mean, there that is like it's still not all the way there, but we're like we're knocking on hell's door now. See, I don't know if how I'd react in that situation. I'd like to say that'd be where I'd tell them to stop, but I'd be okay with that specific moment. As long as it's like nude fucking like deep throating fucking giving the cluck cluck 9,000 to the cucumber. Like if it's just
It,
dead ass, just like full clothes, like I don't know, dude, this dude's about to pay me to shove this shit down my throat. Be like, all right, that's a little weird, but I guess that's cool. It's when we go further than that. I think that is literally the line that I draw it.
I swear, like, for me, like personally, like I can't date somebody with OnlyFans, not necessarily because I want to be able to control people in this sense, but it's a fact of when those lines get crossed, a lot of times people become I tend to become greedy. Because one thing people don't seem to understand is just because you can do whatever you want to do or anything you want doesn't mean you necessarily should. Because even with old girl who was getting harassed, I'm not saying it's right. However, you cannot sit up in here and act like you're not feeding the sickos.
Yeah, like
So,
it's because I remember a while back we talked about this too. It's that risk reward thing. The same thing you get if you're like someone like a stripper or something like yeah, you're getting a lot of money real quick for not having any talent. There's gonna come some drawbacks to it. You're gonna lose some respect. You're gonna be putting yourself in a position where people will be being weird. You know, Like, it's not right. I'm not by any means saying it's right. But when you're innately, the thing that you are selling is innately interacting with someone's primal, like, desires and stuff. Desire is a strong thing. There's a reason why things like envy and fucking shit like that is in the Catholic Bible of, you know, the 7 deadly sins. But
Hell yeah.
so once you start interacting with people, like, and their desires at that level, people start losing control. It's not right, but it is what happens.
Oh yeah, you're right. And to add to that, like most people get that confused and thinking that people like you'll tell them these kind of things and they'll be like, "Oh, so you're saying that does that make it right?" And like you said, no, we're not. However, these kind of things happen. A lot of things aren't right that happen, but you have to know, be well enough and smart enough to know that enough when enough is enough, and
Yeah.
just to stop. Because and even in the aspect of like when people talk about self respect, because I will literally see like some women get on the internet and complain about the lack of the lack of respect they're getting. They'd be like, "Oh, they're so focused on all the pictures I take that they don't even get to know me." And I'm like, if all you do is post pictures of your ass and yourself half naked 9 times out of 10, what the hell makes you think that they gonna care about what you have to say?
Yeah. And also, it's like, you could be a perfect fucking match, but if you're doing that, especially to a point where you're like, well, I like you, but this is what I do, and I'm not willing to stop it, then at that point it becomes an issue of respect, not personality and shit like that. But it also, a lot of people, like, point it in one way or the other. Like, the person with the OnlyFans will say, well, they didn't respect me, and the person without the OnlyFans will say they didn't respect me, when in reality, you're looking at the issue on both sides of the spectrum. Like, going in to talk to someone with an OnlyFans. Nah, it'd be absolutely fucking weird if you just, like, walk up to the bitch, go like, hey, you're kind of cute, you know? I just wanted to come say hi. And she's like, I just want to let you know I have an OnlyFans and I post pictures of shit getting popped out of my clit like a goddamn machine gun. That'd be a little weird, but, like, at some point in the talking process, before you officiate things, you do gotta bring it up. And then once you bring it up, you've done your part. It's on this guy to be like, all right, cool, you're cool as hell, but if this is what you gotta do, then I gotta step, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because one thing people don't seem to understand is when it comes to certain things, like one thing I've always learned is if you have a problem with anything, a lot of stuff should be acknowledged beforehand. Don't just wait until you've been dating this person for about 2 to 3 years and try to say, all right, you gotta stop. Because you haven't made yourself clear enough.
Yeah. And that's something that I 100% stand by, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been that guy that sat there and was like, oh, we'll just ignore this and then try to change it. And I fully admit, dude, I was the dick. I was completely wrong and stuff. Even though, to an extent, I stand by all the reasons I had for it, I should have been that one that got to that point and been like, well, damn, and then just moved on, you know?
Oh yeah, I definitely understand because the like a lot of the issues, especially with this kind of stuff nowadays, is a lot of people want to be like free and quote unquote independent and be able to make their own choices and whatnot. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But one of the primary reasons that I don't want to date someone with the only thing, because people come up with these reasons nowadays saying that, oh, if you're not ashamed, then what do you have to hide? Like people don't seem to understand that you got to leave some things up to the imagination. Like everything isn't necessarily worth
Yeah.
displaying to the world.
Yeah. You also gotta understand that there are people who are gonna think that shit's like, you know, something special and stuff, you know? And that also leads into, like, how we've talked about how, like, you should communicate it and how you should react should you do that. And the reason that I actually titled this OnlyFans Impact on Dating Life rather than how you came to me and you said, would you date a chick with OnlyFans?
Oh yeah.
OnlyFans is a very recent thing. How many relationships do you think were fucked up because out of nowhere the chick just went up to the guy and was like, hey, I have an OnlyFans now, and didn't even like try and talk about it, or they did like, hey, I think I want to start an OnlyFans, that started a big relationship fight. Like, how How do you think that impacted all of those relationships, and how much do you think that's happened?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's happening a lot. Like I actually got one big example. It was these YouTubers. It's like their name like Kelly and K-More, and she was pretty much like going broke during like the pandemic because she was like an independent booker and stuff like that. And she talked to old dude K-More and was like, he thought about starting OnlyFans, and dog was like, no, like I'm not down with that. Basically, told her flat out, it did everything you're supposed to do, saying that that's not okay. I'm not down with it, and she literally did it anyway. Like, and she tried to say that maybe somehow it was my fault because I didn't communicate to him that I needed money and X, Y, and Z. She said, I'm not going to apologize for doing what I have to do for my quote unquote family and myself, but I will apologize for making him feel like what he's saying didn't matter. I'm like, but you did. I'm like, you did though. Like, this person literally acknowledged the fact that said, I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it. And you did it anyway. It's not like you said, hey, I need to do this, and if you don't like it, then you can break up. You literally just want to have your cake and eat it too. And that's the
Yeah.
problem nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely with the world getting more and more free, like, you need to understand that people having boundaries is not an assault on you as a person, you know? Now, I will say, if I was in the dude's position, like old dude's position, where fucking bitch comes up to me and is like, hey, I just started an OnlyFans. You should check it out. And I'm like, bro, I see your OnlyFans in the bed every day. What the fuck? We need to talk. Yeah, I might be a little toasty in the moment too.
For real.
Like,
But that would definitely cause a breakup. Because the funny thing is, like, let me ask you this: what would you say to people who would say stuff like, "Oh, like y'all don't like OnlyFans girls or whatnot, but y'all will go to strip clubs and you got no problems with strippers and stuff like that"? What would you say to
I don't go to strip clubs. Literally, I just don't. Like, you've given me a completely irrelevant argument. But, like,
Right.
to putting myself in the position of someone who does go to the strip club so we can make this a bit more engaging, yeah, it's out there, and I don't fault anyone for taking it. It goes back to that hate the player, don't hate the game. Or, no, I said that backwards. Sorry, I'm kind of stupid. Hate the game, don't hate the player.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that's going to be happening, but in a relationship, you got to understand that it's a coming together of two people respecting another, two people, like, when you become in a relationship, there's two different types of relationships, all right? There's the playful relationship where basically y'all nothing more than exclusive fuck buddies. But
Right.
and then there's also the serious relationship where it's like, yeah, we can act like the fucking playful relationship and stuff, but it's a known groundwork that this is supposed to be leading to something more, you know?
Yeah.
And
Like,
once you're in that second one, you kind of have to understand that you are no longer, your life isn't your own in that sense, you know? You live for someone else, and it works both ways, you know?
oh yeah, I agree. Because, and most people don't seem to understand that, especially if you actually go especially like if you go further in the aspect of, like if you even think about getting married or having kids and stuff like that, and the fact that we already know when it comes to the internet that once something is on there, then it's probably gonna be on there permanently. Because even if you delete it, we already know people do screen recordings and screenshots. You may have taken
Yeah.
an embarrassing picture of yourself, like square.
Especially something where you're actually asking people to pay to see, you know?
Right. Like I can imagine like a 7-year-old child and somebody come up to him and say have a screenshot of their mom squirting like chocolate syrup all over her face, and they're like, "Is this your mommy?" Like,
Bro, can you imagine? Just, you know, the shit we went through fucking with the yo mama joke. Could you even imagine why the fuck yo mom got fucking vanilla fucking extract all over her pussy on my phone? I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, like, I get growing up's different, but, like, in the scene that we grew up in, dude, could you imagine? God damn.
Oh, hell yeah, because people are literally like, one thing people don't seem to understand is people are lethal. And back then, even if they did say mom jokes, at least a lot of the times, depending on like our era, like most people didn't even know your moms. But when you actually on the internet and they actually have proof of what they saying is true, then what do you do then? You can't, because you can't get everybody the truth.
Someone walks up, yeah, why your mama a whore? You know, you laugh, ah ha ha, funny joke. Then they whip out the phone like, bitch, look at this coochie. And you're like, you're scarred for life. You just seen your mom's fucking pussy and you fucking, now you're just pissed in every way. You're about to go home, fucking hang yourself. It's over.
I swear, man. Like, and I was gonna say, I'm gonna keep it a buddy. Like, you probably can fight the first person who says that, but if it's like 10 motherfuckers, like, you can't fight all of them.
Oh, dude, you could, hell, even if they all came at you one-on-one and you fought every single one of them, it's on the internet. There's gonna be another one and two. At that point, there comes a point where you just get tired, dude. You just get tired. Oh, yeah. You gotta retire. Like, you're like, dude, I'm fucking little 10-year-old about to go whoop the fucking 25th person to talk about his mom's OnlyFans. He's just gonna walk up there, fucking, I'm getting too old for this shit.
For real. That man gonna be running gauntlets forever.
Yeah, actually. And it's funny, actually, it was on the Impulsive podcast. Logan Paul managed to get Belle Delphine on there. And like, Belle Delphine straight up even said, was like, yeah, I get that this stuff's all awful. I didn't know if I wanted to break into porn, because this was back when she was talking about, you know, doing her first porn video. And then she was like, but at the same time, I'm already doing awful things. It's all fucking shit and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, you kind of already went that way. Like, you acknowledge that what you did, you're probably gonna regret it, so you might as well cash in.
And that's messed up too, because it's funny because you could look at that in a good and bad way, because you like, so you mean to tell me you know what you do is fucked up, but it can damage your reputation, yet you still gonna go with it. Like, and it's funny because I don't think in any other walk of life but that can you say, I know I'm doing some bullshit, I know this is unhealthy, but I'm gonna continue. Like, I don't know any other field of work that does it.
I don't know about necessarily field. Well, I could think of a few. Like, I used to be an old school type electromagnetic steel plater, dude. I used to stick my hand in cyanide, hydrochloric acid, fucking all sorts of shit.
Whoa.
Yeah. So like it's definitely something that, in all honesty, part of me thinks it's just human nature to do shit like that. Because even with something like fucking smoking cigarettes or even doing drugs and shit like that, most of the time you talk to these people, they fully understand they fucking up. Fully. And they just keep doing it. You know? They're like, yeah, dude, I don't know where my life's going, as they rail a fucking 8-ball of coke right off the fucking table straight.
That's crazy. But even back to Belle Delphine, one thing I noticed, I'm not sure if she's dating somebody, but the fact, because I remember it's like a couple other people who were actually like in the same field that she was in, and they literally said the same thing that she said. She said she's well aware that they made like a bad image for themselves, but they said they might as well just get some money off of it. But where it went bad was they said they're gonna try to teach other young girls how to get money off of it. Which I'm gonna keep it real. Like, if you honest about it, if you like being honest about one thing is cool, but you can't get mad when people call you on what you are.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there is a limit. Like, there's a respectful level of calling someone, and then there is just a harassment level, which that goes back to what we were talking about before, where we're not saying you deserve to be harassed. We're merely saying that you kind of welcomed it unintentionally. You know?
Oh yeah. I definitely agree with that, because even with how OnlyFans has been literally prevalent, and you literally have so many people who will be like I'm just gonna start one because they gonna get like some kind of money. Because even as I've literally met girls that I went to school with, and they said they got OnlyFans now. And one of me and my boys was talking about it, and he was like, "She ain't finna make no money. They literally don't give what OnlyFans mean. It's in the name, OnlyFans. She ain't got no fans."
Bruh.
Like,
That's terrible. That's terrible. I mean, I definitely fucking, what is it? I know my buddy Matt has that issue where he'll have people that he went to school with, full on, like, no shame, dude. They'll message him, be like, yo, you want to check out my OnlyFans? It's just like, no, get out of here.
it is a shame too, because like these are literal people who painted these big images of themselves, and now that you actually seeing like how far you fallen, it's almost like a "Hello Darkness, my old friend" kind of thing,
Well,
like that they fell into.
yeah. There's also the people who, like, go down there, they understand that they're going down, like, a dark, there's people out there who go down this route because they want to and still think they're the shit. Like,
Man,
still think that they're the fucking golden prize, and they don't understand why they can't get a good guy. Fucking, like,
and it's weird because I swear even some of the things that I've seen, especially when it comes to like the apps I've been on, the people I've talked to, like you'll be so surprised. You probably already seen it, but you will be literally so surprised about how open some people are and how quickly people will flip that switch. Like it was this girl, she was literally talking like a quote unquote business entrepreneur by day, and she was like a OnlyFans thought by night. And she was literally trying to talk, and she's literally talking like, "Oh, this is a business. Oh, a person gonna rock with me, then they gonna have this, and that. They gonna have to invest." I'm like, "Invest in what? You showing your body? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, I get that there's probably are people out there that are okay with it and shit like that. But, like, understand that, like, you can act like you're the prize and shit, but understand that you probably just chopped 75% of your candidates off. And there's also certain traits and certain things that people are okay with that fucking line up with other traits and shit like that. So, like, douchebags. 100% douchebags are the type of people. I'm sure there's great guys out there who would be okay with it. I'm sure there's probably sappy motherfuckers who couldn't get anything that they're just gonna fucking settle, you know?
oh, oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's a fact because and I don't think people seem to realize that some people are literally so stuck on their desires and the things that they want. Because one of me, my other boys was talking about this as well. The fact that people focus on like I need 6 figures or I need a car or a big house. You don't even realize that the guy that you living in there with literally does not give a damn about you.
Yeah.
Like y'all are basically business. Like y'all ain't a couple. Y'all are basically business partners.
Y'all business partners. Fucking. You're fucking showing. It's like a stock meeting when you guys go to the bedroom. It's like a fucking market report. You fucking throws that first thrust in, and he's like, "This is what's coming in the future," and you're like, maybe I do want to invest in this."
And then as soon as the time goes by, the stocks start to slowly drop.
Yeah, and then you hop off and you go sign in for another stock.
For real.
It's actually, I'm not gonna lie, like, I know we're both clowning. It's kind of fucked up how well this metaphor's fitting, actually. It's kind of fucking sad, dude.
It really is.
Damn.
It's the reality though. Like, and another aspect, especially like with some of these like OnlyFans shit, is I swear one thing that kills me about people who will say stuff like that is the fact that they'll talk about standards and stuff like that, and they'll tell you to like boss up or something like that. Yet you literally the only reason you have money in the first place is you got some creepy motherfuckers who are willing to just pay money to just look at pictures of you like every month, which somebody else is probably screenshotting and showing to people for free.
Yeah, dead ass. You wanna know what would actually be fucked up, though, too? We talked about, like, if
What?
a girl started an OnlyFans without saying anything. What if you're in, like, fucking 5-7 year relationship, dude? You're literally about to propose, fucking get down on your knee, do that. A week later, bro, you find out she's had an OnlyFans for a couple of years. Like, started it after you were dating, didn't know about it. You go out there, this bitch got like 1 million fucking subs, and you're like, shit starts flashing through your mind, like, oh, so that's where that PS5 came from. And you're just sitting there like, damn, what do you do in that situation?
Honestly, bro, like depending on my principle, like it's tough, especially because who gonna want to give up the new Xbox Series X
Bro,
or
seriously.
or the Lambo truck? But if you stand on what you saying, it's gonna hurt, but you might be like, "Damn, like you gotta go," but you gotta be prepared for them like wild ass friends saying that. How do you think? Oh, where do you think all this comes from? You think I can just get you all this shit? I get you the Xbox, that watch, that jewelry by working at a damn department store? Like you gotta deal with all that ratting shit.
Dude,
It is messed up.
What are you supposed to say?
Yeah, it is messed up too because I was like, it's messed up too because you didn't even know, but you could always use the counter argument of you didn't even tell me. You said you was doing investments.
Bro, you said like, yeah, dude, my stocks went up a lot today. But I feel like in that situation, dude, I'd like to say what I feel like you should do. I'm now being in a position where I've, known what I should do and obviously didn't do it. I know there's going to be a lot of guys who don't. But in that position, dude, I feel like you cut the loss, you fucking leave. You leave the Xbox, you leave the PlayStation, you leave the house, and you just like you don't even fight, dude. You just go. You just gotta go.
Yeah, I agree. Cause everyone's different, but for me, I gotta go because you got some dudes who will act like they're trying to preserve their like dignity when they say, but I'll still take this watch and gifts though. Like, nah, those came from lies. Like,
you about to fucking hop on her OnlyFans and see the news she sent you last week, and you about to be like, bitch, what?
Right?
She's gonna be like, but you got it free.
For real. She gonna post a picture like with some new dude she's with, and it's gonna have you like sick as hell listening to Juice WRLD for probably like 2 weeks.
Yeah, dude.
So like,
oh, dude, I said 7-year relationship, and you found out she's had it for like a couple years, dude. You ain't listening to Juice WRLD. You about to be Juice WRLD,
bro. Yeah, R.I.P. R.I.P. to that man.
You about to fucking.
What was it?
I was about to say you about to not only listen, you about to literally reenact Little Peep's life.
Man.
Fentanyl and all.
For real. R.I.P. to that man too. And I just thought something even worse. What if like you have in that long relationship, but you got kids though? Like,
oh, dude, it's over. It's over. What do you do in that situation?
It is messed up. It is messed up too because you already know if you a guy, like you're not gonna win when it comes to like divorce court and like the child cases and shit. Like,
I don't know, man.
Like
Most courts are ran by old people. You might be able to walk in that bitch and be like, and then fucking put up a big projector of our OnlyFans. Boom, you might just win the kids there. You just flash a big pic of her gooch on fucking the side of the fucking board, and they're like, oh dear.
For real. That shit go, like, I swear you will be, like, it'll be a wrap. But it'll be messed up if you lose that case and you end up having to pay child support, especially when she's making all that damn money and you just got a average job.
Like I said, most court cases are old ass people. They do think about the kids a lot. You go in there, you don't even try and tell them why you need the kids. Go in there, dead ass, just advertise her OnlyFans, dude. Hype up that OnlyFans, and they're gonna be sitting there like, well, she shouldn't be with kids. But at the same time, you're gonna get the fucking jury, the judge, everyone's gonna be fucking horny as shit, gonna go buy her OnlyFans. Boom, you just paid for your own child support.
Yes, sir. But even the best case scenario, if you win, you might be able to get child support from her.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude. That's sick. You advertise her OnlyFans, tell her what's going on, like a fucking fall and be like, yeah, for just $5.99 a month, you can get on and enjoy glorious pictures like this, and then you see her getting fucking nutted on by 5 dudes in some fucking glorious bukkake action. and just go fucking, and then the
Hell
dude's gonna be
nah.
sitting there like, dude, that's sick. We can't leave the kids with them, and then he's gonna go home. He's gonna get a little fucking horny, lonely, dude. His old man sitting there. My wife died 50 years ago. Dropped the fucking $5.99, and then the fucking $8-10 fucking purchases for the pictures and shit. Boom, you won the court case. You're getting child support, and the judge is paying your child support.
Yes, sir. It's a dub for us all. So some of you OnlyFans chicks better be thinking about these like consequences for real.
Now, one thing I do want to bring up that's a little bit off of OnlyFans, but I do think it's kind of like the same mentality you get from OnlyFans. So
Oh, yeah.
I was with this chick, right? She, like I said, there was a lot of things that I shouldn't have been okay with, but I just tried to be okay with. She was one of them rave girls, right? Go to a rave, do a bunch of drugs, fucking start tripping off your ass, seeing the fucking lights flashing around and the booming music, people jumping around. And there's always one thing in common that I've never understood. They show up half naked in lingerie. I remember telling my girl, like, I'm not okay with this. And she straight up was like, yeah, no, I'll wear something else. And then the day came and she went and fucking got all skimpy, fucking tried acting all sexy to me about it and stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, don't fucking talk to me. Don't talk to me like that.
That's
So, like, how do you feel in those situations where, like, a girl's like, yeah, dude, what do you have a problem with? Everyone else does it, and she's sitting there fucking half naked, fucking grinding on a dude. Like, dude, I'm just enjoying the rave.
I'll say this, like, even though I've never really been a rave kind of guy, like to begin with, when in situations like that, especially with my girl doing drugs and just dancing on random people, I always gotta let her know quickly, like, nah, like that cannot fly. Like, basically don't be a follower because that's what everybody else is doing. Because you just showed, that how easy it is to influence you, and why should I actually respect you in a sense if you're just gonna do something because everyone else is doing it?
See, I didn't when I should have, but I can get behind that why should I respect you thing. Definitely. I like that a lot.
Appreciate it, because one thing, especially when it comes to like back to what I said about like establishing things beforehand, especially when it comes to like doing drugs and stuff like that, like I'm barely even drinking like that. I just like I stay focused on and keep my mind clear out of like the natural things that actually make me happy. But once I see like even a hint of that, I'm like, all right, nope. Like you gotta cut that out. Like you gotta cut that out, or you gotta go.
And now, how would you reply to someone who sits there and is like, "Oh, you're just being controlling and shit like that"? How would you reply in that instance? Because I've actually lived that instance.
Now, like that will depending on like how much I care about the person, especially like if I've been with them long, that probably will piss me off. And I'm like, do you not realize what the hell you're doing to yourself? That this stuff is literally destroying your body, your brain, and it can kill you. And you're over here trying to say I'm being controlling.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they'll reply something like, "Oh, you're just gaslighting to make me feel bad and shit like that," and they'll just find every way to turn it on you. How do you respond in that situation?
Honestly, like especially when it comes to someone you care about, you gonna want to try to do everything you can to help them, of course. However, when like after a certain point, especially when people just keep making up lies and trying to act like they know everything about what's going on, especially after you giving them like objective facts, there's only so much time you can actually just give to people. But once I seen you keep trying to cut me off, you keep disregarding what I have to say, you keep lying on my name. After a certain point, like you just gotta go.
Yeah, seriously. I get behind that a lot. I wish I would have actually followed that more, because at the time I definitely didn't. Like looking back, dude, I beat the shit out of myself, because there are just certain moments that like you gotta stop and be like if they're that easy to influence, you can't respect them. If they're not respecting you and what you want, you can't respect them and shit like that. And it's so easy when you're in those situations to be caught up and be like, well, I just want shit to work, and being willing to do almost anything to try and make that work and to try and get the outcome that you want.
Oh yeah, like, and I will say this, like, oh, my fault, but I definitely understand that, because one thing I learned, especially when it comes to like human nature, is not necessarily to be like confrontational in a sense, but we actually want to take care of the people that we close to and stuff. And then once you actually see something that you don't, that can be damaging, you may want to be like, yo, you got to stop that, even when it comes to like your own blood and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
eventually, like, you just gotta like cut them loose, and it's tough sometimes because you have people who will literally blame you, and stuff, and leave them if something happens. They're like, why would you supposed to be here for her, yada yada, which is kind of stupid because you're not obligated to keep babysitting somebody who can actually take care of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely that is a big issue that you run into, is someone who fails to like take care of themselves, someone who's just willing to do whatever, or even just like a lot of times you'll find people doing literally whatever they have to fit in, and then relating the shit that they did to fit in to themselves, you know? Because it's all they've ever known in reality. Like, you grew up doing that shit, so it's like a new way and change almost feels scary, you know?
Oh yeah, because I definitely like recognize people who actually have done things to fit in. They try to adapt that kind of stuff into their personalities. But the reality, and it's weird because, especially depending on what age you're at, you're literally just trying to find out who you are and stuff like that. But we already know the things that, like, being a drug addict or just being a violent person or being rude, those aren't personality traits.
Yeah.
Like, and people need to recognize that real fast, because nowadays the boundaries and stuff we actually try to teach people as kids, people are literally erasing that and trying to make it into something that's cool. Like, nowadays people think being rude, people say, I'm not being rude, I just have a personality that you can handle. Like, what the hell does that even mean?
Yeah, people who just have blatant, like, disrespect almost, and they just relate it to their freaking personality. I'm just a mean person, or I'm just an ass. That's a big thing, especially you get in, like, the fucking old fucking, like, bigotry filled fucking redneck communities. You get the I'm the asshole, you just gotta be able to handle me. Like, there's a difference between being like a playful asshole and just being downright disrespectful. You know?
Oh yeah, I
Like,
swear, cause I'm off.
I'm about to say, if like your thing is purposely being disrespectful, then you ain't a good person. Like, you can't sit there and be like, yeah, I'm a good person, I got a heart of gold, I'm just an asshole at times. Like, there are times where, yeah, you might apply that, sentence to things, but like, there's a lot of people who do that you just can't. You really can't.
Right. And even knowing that and another thing that is actually funny is, some people, if I don't know if you met anybody like this before, but it's some people who will literally relate that stuff to astrology and like horoscope signs and stuff like that.
Oh,
They say,
you're
oh,
such a Scorpio.
right. They say, oh, I can't right, I can't help that I'm Scorpio. I'm like, nah, you're a bitch. Like,
Yeah, actually. I can't help that I beat the shit out of my wife. That's just Gemini things.
right. Like, I have two sides to myself.
Yeah. Like, I won't lie. Like, I don't know if I fully believe it, but the astrology things, it's fun to look into. It's fun to look at that. And sometimes you do see parallels, but that could just be, humans in general. But like, full on being like an asshole, shit like that. Like, why? No, you're not. You're not fucking abusive and controlling just because you're a Gemini, and they should just live with that. Like, maybe you should fucking get some counseling.
Take a look at that damn mirror and
Yeah,
realize who you are.
yeah,
Like them dudes just be tripping, man. But overall, I'll definitely say, in terms of when it comes to people who just act like that, or they just blame whatever give their personality, it's those people who never learn how to take accountability, or they just have a bunch of people who just enable the stuff that they do. They'll say, "Oh, like, oh, there's nothing wrong. Oh, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. Like, it's just everybody else who needs to change." And
Yeah.
that's a messed up way to go about it, because eventually you gonna run into those people who don't give a damn about you, and they go, if something bad might happen. Not saying I hope it does, but that's just reality.
Yeah. Yeah, but you see that mentality in so many people these days of like, oh, you don't agree with me, and this is just how I am. You just need to accept it, and it's no, no, not at all.
That's a fact. Because even the aspect of like people trying to twist things, like being clingy and stuff like that, and they, like I said, Rob, they teach you this kind of stuff as kids, that give people their space. Nobody wants someone who does this all the time, and people will always say twist that and saying like, oh, clingy, oh, you're not clingy, you just give people a lot of love. Like, how is clinging to my damn leg while I'm going to the bathroom extra love? It's not.
No, that's just abandonment issues. And at that point, again, we go back to the counseling issue.
Yep.
But
You.
what are you about to say?
Oh no, I was just saying like I agree with what you were saying.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's wild. Though, especially the whole OnlyFans thing. Get back to that finally after looping around 7 different things.
Right.
I feel like all of these issues that we just talked about has only been exacerbated in a world that OnlyFans has rose to prominence, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Because one thing I noticed is OnlyFans was around for a long time, but then people just started to take advantage of it now, especially with things that they don't even like. That's not even about it, which you can kind of say is smart, but it may not necessarily be good, because we all know just because you're intelligent doesn't mean you're a good person.
Actually,
In this,
inversely, intelligence usually shows signs of heavy link to psychopathy, freaking sociopathy, narcissism. It's heavily linked in studies to that, actually.
oh yeah, definitely. So people don't need to just don't get that confused, in a sense of saying that, oh, they're not like that. This person is a smart person, and X, Y, and Z. I'm like, and like you're literally taking advantage of the fact that people like some, well, not everyone, but some of them are literally taking advantage of the fact that some people are like creeps, and you're profiting off of that.
Yeah, yeah. Now here's a question that like we're a little bit down the ways to be asking this question, but it just popped in my head. How you feel if you're with your significant other and she tells you got an OnlyFans and you're like, you know what? I don't expect this to go anywhere. I expect this to be a little fun. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go for it. And then one day you just wake up, you walk in, she's fucking fully dressed in the bathtub with fucking Doritos and pouring milk all over herself to a camera. What do you do in that situation? Like,
Now,
what if it's not like a skimpy OnlyFans? What if they're just doing some off the wall shit? What do you do?
yeah. Now, first I'm a puke. Like that's just what. Because if you do Doritos and milk, you are a nasty person. You don't deserve food at all. Like, but it's weird because like I might just tell like, because depending on like her mindset, I'll be like, all right, this is weird, but you can't be doing stuff like that. Because I don't know.
Bro, bitch, you know how much I paid for those Doritos?
Like I got a 2 for 4 deal. You over here wasting those shit.
Bro, you fucking sitting here swimming around, fucking in the Doritos, pouring the Mountain Dew all over myself. What the fuck am I supposed to use for Call of Duty later?
Right. It's a basketball game. Ain't no damn snack in here. You fucking everything up.
Fucking laying in the tub. Fucking, and she just tells you, like, well, I just made enough money to buy it. I just made $100,000 off that video. And you're like, bro, what? Like,
That's
goddamn.
that shit is wild. But like shit, if I was one of them dudes who be okay with it, I'm like, shit, buy me like a truck of Doritos and we good. But too bad I'm not that guy.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I got a fine line. It's like, I'm saying, like, fully clothed, Doritos, milk, bathtub, everything. I walk into that, I'm gonna be like, I'm literally staring at him. I'm just be like, I would just leave. Just not even saying nothing. I would just leave. I might even leave the house, dude. I might go bowling. Like, I'm like, you know what? This is weird. It ain't bad. Like, but it's fucking weird. I think I need to step out, take a minute. I'm gonna let you do what you gotta do. You know, bring in those bands, honey. But I'm gonna go fucking drink my sorrows away at the bar. Off of what I just saw.
And you know and I swear, being disappointed in somebody, I swear is worse than being pissed off at them. Because usually a lot of people be like, what the hell are you doing? But if you turn around and you see a significant other just shaking their head and just walk out, that's like
that's getting screamed at ain't gonna make you think about your life. You see someone literally so defeated that they can't fucking say anything. Now you're sitting there going like, well, what am I doing here in this tub full of milky Dorito cereal?
For real. But yeah, hey, you got Twitter. Hey, but you got Twitter who will back him up though. Like, yeah, hey, if he don't rock with you, he don't need to be with you. Like, knock it off.
God damn. That'd be something else, dude. That'd be something else.
That is a shame, bro. I could not imagine that.
It's just like, imagine it's a regular thing. You keep walking out of this shit. 1 minute it's the Doritos and fucking coochie cereal in the tub. It's fucking. Next minute you're walking in, it ain't even fucking anything raunchy. This bitch is just like recording Steven Universe or some shit, and bitches are paying for it on Onlyfans to watch you react to it.
That should be wild. Like, I swear, Doritos and milk, that shit is nasty. But if it has anything to do with like sauerkraut and relish, we breaking up that night. Because sauerkraut is disgusting, bro.
Oh, dude, I got a buddy. One of these days, we're gonna have to get him in here so he could talk about it. He was like, "Yeah, dude, I was with this girl. She wanted me to put sour cream on my dick."
Well, what the fuck?
He justifies it. He's like, "Yeah, dude, it was a little weird, but I got my dick sucked." I remember I brought it up in front of one of our coworkers, and literally her immediate reaction, she was like, like at the top of her lungs, a high-pitched scream. Look back, she's like, "What the fuck?"
That shit is wild as hell. Like, it's funny though, because I know some people, not necessarily who do like sour cream, but I know some people who will do like sweet stuff when it comes to that. But
fuck, my ex liked frosting. It was still fucking sour cream. Sour cream was still a little bit out there. Most people are upset that the sour cream's all in one spot on the Taco Bell. Yeah, what, do you get upset if you put the sour cream all in one spot on the dick?
Bro.
Yeah, I was just going to town on the dick, and all of a sudden, all the sour cream at once, man. I wish they'd spread it out.
That shit is wild, bro. Like, I swear, like I did not expect to hear that out of all things. And the messed up part about it is, like, me, like, I can't do certain stuff because, like, let me see here. What's something like? Let's say you like cherry, like, let's say you like cherry candy or something like that, and your girl, if like me personally, let's say like my girl does that and had like cherry candy all over her body, I'm like, after this point, it ruined the night because I'll never be able to eat that candy again. Because in my mind,
yeah,
like, that kind of stuff is not supposed to go together. Like,
dude, it's definitely got to be something. Like, I won't lie, like the frosting thing was cute. I don't eat frosting myself. That was a big thing where it was like frosting is almost exclusively there. You know, that's that part. But like sour cream, like, It ain't even sweet. It's sour cream, dude. Dude, bitch says some stupid shit like, "Yo, can you slather the fucking relish all over me?" And we're not buying any more relish, dude. It's not. It ain't coming in the house. She'd be like, "Honey, we need more relish." I'd be like, "Yeah. I'm going to the store. I'm on purposely to fucking not grab it. We're not buying it again."
Hey, you remember? It's like you remember that one Family Guy episode where Brian said, "I'll try you jelly." He said, "There's nothing wrong with this Smuckers."
I did
You
not see
remember
this. I didn't see that.
It was Family. I swear, because when you be doing like when people do stuff like that, especially with stuff that you eat every day, like when you have that like blank face where you about to throw up in your mouth and you can't even say nothing, your eyes are just real big.
Yeah.
You could be like, dog, like no, like it ain't happening.
I couldn't, dude. I couldn't.
Yeah. Me neither.
It's fucking wild.
Relish is one of the nastiest, one of the nastiest condiments in existence, hands down.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like relish. It's basically just fucking pickle salad.
Bro.
I get down for it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to slurp it out of bitch's cooch, but I like the relish.
Teachers on, I guess. And it's funny how you actually broke that down and stuff too, because I swear I heard people say like sloppy Joe. They say it's just hamburger and ketchup. I was like, no, it's not. The way that shit is, how the hell do you just get this out of can? Like,
hamburger ketchup. Yeah, no, sloppy Joe's not hamburger and ketchup. Bro, I promise. I go up there, I cook some beef and slap some ketchup in it. It does not taste like fucking sloppy Joe at all. At all, dude.
I swear, like I don't know where people get that from. Like, how do you just literally make that whole lie up on purpose? Like, how?
They take like the two main ingredients and they're like, fuck it. They do exactly what I did. They take the main ingredients, you know, fucking say some weird shit with it. Bada bing, bada boom.
God.
You're basically Ramsay, dude.
Yes, sir.
Fuck
that. But I would say though, like, cause I didn't know if you had any more questions, but I was actually gonna like close out the OnlyFans joint. But I just tell people like do what you want. I can't tell you to not do it in a sense, but if you don't really rock with that, just be open and honest and acknowledge your own wants and desires before you actually get too far to where it's too late.
Yeah, and it's definitely it's a person by person basis. It's what you're okay with, it's what they're okay with. You know. And then you also gotta think like if you wanna do fucking OnlyFans, go out there, put yourself out there like that. Because I'm sure there's a ton of people out there who are like this, where you want to put yourself out there because you think you're making money. And say your significant other's like, fuck it, dude, I'm going to do it too. And he starts taking pictures of him doing like the helicopter with his dick and he makes more money. And then all of a sudden you're all pissed and shit. Like, you got to be able to take what you fucking dish out.
Yeah. Well, they ain't gonna be able to handle that though. Like for real. Cause it's
What was I about to say?
Well, I don't know. Cause some of them might, but then you got the others who will always say it's different. But who knows?
Yeah. Well, now that we've just about exhausted what we could say on OnlyFans, I guess it can actually hit that other point that I was talking about. Now this one, like I said, this one's a bit closer to me because it has happened to me. It's just, I don't think it's going to be expanded upon as much as the OnlyFans one was, but how do you feel about people who are like, as much as I don't like this phrase because I feel like it's so fucking corny at this point, people who are like your ride or dies, like your really good friends, like your brothers and shit, and say like you just drift away, drift apart, or even just start doing something else in life, how do you react in that sense, you know?
Man, like that's heavy because that's actually happened to me with two people I was actually close to. Like, and in a sense, depending on how it happens, it actually like that shit will bother you, especially if you spend like so much time with these people, you've been in like some real serious situations, whether you help them out there and been in your house or whatever. But it's ultimately like it can be painful, but eventually like you just learn to keep pushing forward. And one thing I've always noticed, depending on who it is or how you actually drifted apart from them, whether it's like in a positive or a negative way, for some reason they always seem to float back around. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if that's happened to you or not,
Oh
but
yeah, definitely.
what do you think?
No, I actually bring this up because I'm not gonna lie. I was the guy. I was the one who drifted off. I was the one who like, because it was back when I was with my ex. You know, I sat there and I was like, yeah, dude, I'm just trying to focus on me, focus on trying to set up my family, trying to build that path forward. You know, and I got a lot of flack from my friends who especially just started hitting like their party phase and stuff, and were pretty upset that I wasn't around as much. And I straight up told them, I was like, I get that you're upset, but like I do also kind of feel like there comes a point where everyone has got to like stake their own fucking land, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna come a point where we aren't gonna be able to see each other, you know, 3, 4, 5 times a week. You know?
Oh yeah, I definitely understand, and a lot of times, like I always hate using this like phrase or whatnot. But one thing I've noticed is if it's a person who's really your like dog, like your brother, in a sense, like they gonna rock with you regardless of whatever situation
Yeah.
you had. Because I remember one of my boys, he literally moved out of state, and we still talked every day. I was cool with his girl or whatever at the time. Like we all basically had like a connection. I even went out of state to see him.
Yeah.
So ultimately, when it's a person that's like down for you in a sense, they gonna rock with whatever you got going as long as it's not some like unhealthy kind of shit.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, in my case, there you could have slapped the unhealthy thing on there. I definitely, as I'm sure you've deducted from everything I've said before, was in a bit of a really unhealthy relationship. But and it's like I
Oh,
definitely get like, yeah, that shit hurts when you guys drift apart and stuff. And I feel like it depends on why stuff is happening. Like if some guy just like wakes up and decides he don't want to talk to you anymore. He's doing his own thing. Yeah, that shit's gonna hurt like a motherfucker, you know. But like in my sense, I know like if I got my buddy, if they're out there trying to make their life, trying to fucking do what they gotta do, I'm gonna fucking clap them along the way, you know. And
oh yeah.
if that means I get left behind, so be it, you know. That means maybe I need to step my game up, you know.
I definitely understand. But even in like the eyes of my perspective and stuff like that, like one thing I noticed, like I notice people don't necessarily everybody may be afraid of some kind of like change in a sense, but the kind of guy I am, especially when it comes to like the people that I keep around me, I don't believe the aspect of you have to do everything by yourself because people will literally tell you that lie that, well, of course, some things you have to do on your own, but people tell that lie that you're just gonna have to face the whole world by yourself. That's a lie because I will definitely try to pull the people who are around me with me. Hell, even if I have like kids in the future, I would want some of my friends to be or like the guy like goddad or the uncles to these people
Oh yeah,
because
definitely.
that's how close they really are. However, when it comes to like if a person is not really trying to understand what you got going on, especially you handling business or whatnot, then there becomes a difference between a person who just wants to be a friend versus a person who just wants to keep you on that same just hold you to that same step that you've always been on instead of moving up.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a thing. Like, is if you're getting upset, like, yeah, there are some times that people can do some real dirty shit to you. You know that will fucking happen. But if you're in a position where like you're getting upset because someone's trying to like pursue their life and shit like that, then maybe you need to turn inward and look on whether or not they're the ones that are the problem, or if maybe you're just you don't want to move on, you don't want to grow up, you don't want to fucking do all that sort of shit, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because even I witnessed some of the biggest changes with people, and I literally like applaud them on in a sense. Even if you necessarily like, you may start dating somebody, and you just chilling with them now, and you may not answer like a text message like immediately or right away. One thing I know, especially like if this has been someone you've been close with for over like a good amount of years, you're not necessarily going to tie your friendship in the sense of, well, this person is not responding to me no more, so something is wrong. Because I believe, in a sense, some people, unless they start just acting different, some people just try to add problems that aren't really there because of like some little paranoia they may have, instead of
Yeah,
actually thinking and
their
realizing that,
abandonment
yo,
issues.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Instead of just, I'm not going you go.
You're good. Well, you go on.
Yeah, but some people will really do that instead of realizing that, yo, like, this is something new to him. Like, of course, y'all still tight, but just give this person some time because I had friends who literally like moved in with people. Like a friend, basically, when we went through like one of the worst situations I seen them in, and even the fact that they weren't necessarily like listening to me in a sense, I didn't just be like, fuck them, like they're on their like
Yeah,
fuck them, they on their own. I was like you still my dog, like do what you do, but if something happens, I'm here. Because some people get stuck on the fact of that I was trying to tell you, like I was trying to tell you this, and that, and oh, I'm right, and oh, you're wrong, and I'm right. To the point where, like, why are you doing this? Like, are you doing this just to
yeah.
say you're right, or are you doing it because they care?
I definitely feel that one. Cause like I said, I was in a fucking awful relationship. Everyone told me, everyone warned me, and shit like that. And there were people who, to this day, are now my fucking best of friends. And there were also people who were, you know, like you said, caught up on the "well, I told you so" thing.
Yeah, and that's a shame, man, because like the aspect of the aspect of that, it just makes you question that the aspect of how big is your ego, and did you really actually put that shit before our friendship, in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. Also, there is another thing that you brought up earlier that I wanted to touch on. You said like there's this big thing that like everything has to be done alone, and while I definitely don't agree with that, there is to a certain extent that, and this is more of some of my cynical beliefs. There is a certain extent of me that believes that a good chunk of your friends, even like your fucking, even your dogs, there's a good chunk of your friends that even if they're not necessarily dragging you back, that sometimes those attachments could hold you back. And that's something that I've always gotten flack from with my friends because they'll be like, it doesn't have to be like that. But I do kind of have that cynical belief that sometimes people will hold you back unintentionally, so to speak.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, I can definitely see why you say that. However, I would say like it depends on, you know, like it depends on like who they are and the amount of boundaries that you said. Like prime example, like let's say like one of your friends don't have a job and they just want you to sit there and play on the game all day. Now, of course, they may just want to have fun. They may not want you to be homeless in a sense, but if they don't have that mental understanding that, yo, I gotta go and make this money so I don't get put out on the street, then they're not gonna get it. So I would say it's all about like establishing your boundaries, recognizing that, yo, we may not be able to get on a game every night or hang or go to the bar every night, and
Yeah.
just had to come to that level of understanding.
I will say my views go a little bit more cynical than that. Like to the extent like maybe you both have a decent job, both of you are doing the thing, and like nobody is actually intentionally being this way by any means, but just in that sense that you get too comfortable and you stop making pushes, and it keeps you. What you see is you see a lot of people who are kind of forever trapped in the middle class, and they talk about dreams and stuff, but they never actually chase it. They just day in, day out do the same things on their own. And there is a part of me that believes that without certain attachments, certain strings holding you back, you will be more likely to push and achieve those dreams.
I, I will say, I will say this too. Like, it ultimately, like overall, especially like even if you have something that you want to do, like even like with friends and that, it ultimately depends on like you as an individual who may want to do that. Because like you said, like of course we have like roadblocks and stuff like that as well. However, it has to be your own individual drive that keeps pushing you forward because a person can try to motivate you all they want. A person can say like this is a reason why I go as hard as I do, but if it's at the end, regardless of who you say you have, in the end, especially when you go to sleep at night, you're just gonna have yourself.
Yeah.
So you have to be the primary drive and cause of your own motivation.
Yeah. Yeah, and some examples of this, like actually, you remember Seth. Seth, we used to play Xbox with and all that stuff, and then
Yeah.
I still regularly talk to Seth, but despite a handful of people who he talks to kind of regularly, I'm like the most regular person he talks to, and Seth is actually doing phenomenally. Like I think he's making somewhere around 60K, almost 70K a year, stuff like that,
Fucking right.
and that's because, in my view at least, he didn't have friends, so in that sense he just kept progressing on life. So in that time where like you may come home from your day job and be like, yeah dude, I just want to kick back, relax, play some Call of Duty with the boys and shit. In that time, he went and learned what he had to do and all that stuff, and it pushed him to actually keep going forward and achieve more. Whereas sometimes friends they're great, they make you feel good, they can be happy, but that comfortability in a sense can hold you back.
I understand what you're saying. However, to add to that, I believe it's ultimately what you want to do in a sense too. Because I'm not sure like what job Seth has, but in a sense of working in like of course the American market or whatever, of course you're gonna have to like work by yourself in a sense. So you gotta like push of course by yourself and sacrifice and make some kind of sacrifices, whether you just playing the game and stuff like that. Now I wouldn't necessarily say that it's the aspect of like friends is mainly him because even like I'm gonna give you an example. Like, have you ever heard of this group called RDC World on YouTube?
I have not.
It's like yeah, check them out when they get a chance. They're funny as hell. But even them, like they're literally a group of like friends who started out when they was like teenagers, and they said that they didn't want to live a regular life. And even though they all like had friends, like hung out, wanted to have a good time, play the game, they literally made a life out of that. Like they literally worked from like the time they were teenagers all the way up to the point where like in their mid 20s, and they're literally living the life that they want to live because they all have the desire, motivation, and they stuck to what they truly loved and believed in. So I will say, in a sense, like you don't necessarily have to like of course you may have to make sacrifices, but you don't necessarily have to sacrifice like that kind of joy and happiness that you may have just to have success because ultimately what is success and having some accomplishment if there's literally nobody around you to actually share that with.
That's very well spoken, I will say. It's
I appreciate it.
a lot better counterpoints than anybody else has ever given me on that point. That's actually, I'm not gonna lie, that's one reason that I'm, starting down this path, is I've decided that while I believe in a certain degree being successful, sometimes you have to be on your own. There are ways around it, and that's one thing that I intend to incorporate into my channel. Is I intend to make like different shows to do with different friends and try and make, in a sense, hanging out and just being bros my career.
Oh yeah, Like hell yeah, man, because we already seen. That's why I did with TOOC. Because if one person can do it, then you definitely can. Like I just stopped. Like you just gotta tune out. You just gotta tune out the naysayers and just keep grinding and not stopping until like you get what you want. Because people will waste so much time just trying to listen to what other people say when the reality is our paths, everyone's path is necessarily different, but you just have to choose what it is that you want.
Yeah, yeah, that is very well spoken. Because I think the day and age we live makes it a little easier. Back in the day when there wasn't so many like variations, like you pretty much just went to your 9 to 5 and that's how you wanted it. I do think it'd be harder. But now that we have things like YouTube, sponsorships, Twitch, and all that, and this, that, and the other, I definitely think it's a lot easier to incorporate having your friends and stuff, whereas back in the day it might have been a bit more of a lonely climb to success. And it's also because I know one thing I bring up to like my friends all the time is like, if I do, go somewhere, do make it and stuff like that, it'll also give exposure to them and give them the window if they want to do it. Like I know I have a friend who was talking about possibly making a channel all about like language guides and stuff like that. And I'm like, while it may be completely different from where I'm going, it still can give you exposure.
Oh yeah, because just think about all the things that people literally get put on for nowadays. Whether it's like music, comedy acts, like you'll have like I remember like to bring up again RDC. They had this skit about LeBron finding out this one that James Harden went to the Nets, and LeBron literally retweeted it, and they gave him a whole new set of exposure. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
goddamn, yeah, that LeBron retweeting it, yeah, that is a whole new set of exposure right there. Goddamn.
yes, sir. And it's beautiful, man, because being able to actually take a look on the world and hell even to be able to just get on here and have necessarily like no expectations, just to know that we can just stay consistent and just know something that's coming. Cause that's another thing I. Hmm?
Oh, just finish. I was about to expand.
Oh yeah, and even like I'll say, just keep doing what you love. Don't necessarily just get in here expecting things, because some people will literally try to like suck the joy and enthusiasm out of what you do because they think that you're not going fast enough.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and definitely to touch back on the exposure thing. Have you heard of the guy Eric at all?
Hmm. Wait, how you spell that?
It's literally Ari or AIR and then Rack RACK.
Oh, I don't think I ever heard of him.
Well, in the last 2020, at the beginning of 2020, he had 0 subscribers. At the end of 2020, he managed to hit 1 million subscribers.
Damn.
And a lot of what he did was, on top of having extraordinarily entertaining content, he made use of clever exposure. Like this man snuck into Justin Bieber's wedding. He was the guy who bought Logan Paul's couches and did a bunch of weird shit with it. Like he took other people who were already established, made it interesting for them, or even just like didn't even ask them, just fucking like slipped in there somehow and like just genuinely impressed them. And he got exposure from that. Like he snuck
Damn.
onto the set of one of David Dobrik's vlogs, dressed up like David Dobrik and started acting like him.
that's that's crazy, bro. I like to be able to grow from 0 to 1 million in 1 year. That is like a hell of a phenomenon, and I actually congratulate him for that, because it just shows you, man, that your life can change in an instant, especially off of whether it's like one thing you do or two things. If you actually just stay consistent and connect with the people who actually like you.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I will say he also what is it? It was crazy. He was a couple 100,000 down in December, and he managed to gain like 200 something thousand in just December alone. This man rented an island, and he was like, "Bet we're staying on this island stranded until I get 1 million subscribers." And he streamed it with like some shitty Wi-Fi. Man spent a whole month just chilling on an island.
Damn. Was the island nice? Or was it
No,
just
no,
garbage?
dude, it looked like a little rinky-dink ass. They had a little tent with their setup in it. Like sometimes you'd see the weather get crazy. Fucking, it was interesting.
That's that's insane. But hey, I get a man credit though, because even looking at his channel now, he actually had like 1.05 million subscribers.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's done a few interviews since he actually, got the 1 million.
Like that.
As for actual like
That's,
videos, I think he said he's taking a break for the month.
that's what's up. Because like that's one thing I actually admired, especially about like content creators, because like the fact that you're literally able to say, all right, I'm gonna create this, but I'm gonna take some time off, and you literally have people who will clamor to you and be awaiting you as soon as you get back.
Yeah, yeah. As long as you actually stick to it, there's a certain amount of time you have before that starts going away.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like that's why I say pre-recorded. I say pre-recorded videos. Like those ones be hidden, but it just depends on whatever content you put out. Cause I already
Yeah,
know some people
definitely.
be happy. Cause like if you're doing like some big skits, I already know them joints is hard as hell. Just to have
Oh yeah.
pre-recorded all the time.
Oh yeah, because you gotta record different freaking segments, different freaking. Gotta put it all together, different takes, clips, shit like that. Yeah, it's wild. Actually, here when the weather breaks, me and my buddies got an idea for a skit that we're gonna do. It's we're gonna be making the name a play on the fucking old Avril Lavigne song. It's gonna be "He Was a Skater Boy." My two buddies are gonna be like legit skaters and stuff, and the comedic skit is gonna be all about this dude, and I think I'm gonna play the dude, and it's gonna be this dude doesn't fucking know anything about skating at all. Like this man's about to look like a fucking fool out there at the skate park, and he's just gonna make a lot of wild claims, and you're gonna get to the actual like skaters. They're gonna be like, I literally don't know who the fuck this kid is.
That's gonna be hilarious, bro. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, I can't wait to shoot it. It's gonna be a bit expensive because I'm gonna have to get the whole like setup. I'm gonna have to get a board. I'm gonna have to figure out how to fucking ride the board again. It's been so long since
Yeah,
I've been on a skateboard, dude. Even just the basic fucking riding it around is gonna be a rough.
that's. Like, I definitely feel that because I know skating is like one of like it's actually a painful thing. You got to have a lot of tolerance. But hey,
Oh yeah, especially since I'm literally about to learn how to ride the board. I'm not learning any tricks, and then we're going on there. That's gonna be the whole thing is trying to do tricks and shit while fucking being dumb as shit. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great.
definitely. And to even like touch back on that though, that's why I just say like definitely like stick to the people who who are actually down, and the people who actually stick by, who actually like stand by you regardless of rough times and like or whatever, because because when you actually been through the ringer with a lot of people, once you had like tons of disagreements and anything else, and you see they still there, that's how you know that person
Oh
like
yeah, they're
is
they're
really
they're a
there.
real one. They're a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, touching on that, what do you do in a situation where you may have someone that you think is ride or die and shit, and then when the time comes, and even after like multiple years and like it's been tested before, but then just this one thing comes up, and it's like you can't get over it and it all ends there. It all falls apart. What do you think about in those situations?
Like it's literally like when that kind of stuff happens. Like I remember it's like kind of like mind boggling, and of course it may hurt because I remember I had like this one altercation and this one guy, and he proved that he actually wouldn't jump in, but yeah, he was talking shit about the situation that happened to me, and I'm like, yeah, you did nothing. And because like when it comes to aspects, I'm not sure if you're getting into the aspect of like disloyalty and stuff like that. Like if you that person who doesn't necessarily get into fights or altercations or whatever, just say that. However, the fact that you literally try to use that against me as ammo when you did nothing, like literally pisses me off. So that kind of thing will infuriate me, and I just end up having to drop them and move on.
Yeah, yeah, no. When I bring it up, is there was this one guy who I was basically raised like a brother with, and then when the shit with the relationship happened and stuff, and we got into a huge fight, ended up they all used to like shit talk me and shit. I confronted him about it. I'm like, yo, dude, what's going on? And he just did it to my face and almost acted like they were justified for doing it, you know? And a few things were said and stuff. I literally looked at this man. I'm like, dude, are we ever gonna grow up? And are we actually brothers or not? And he looked at me and said no. And we went our separate
And
ways from there.
that's that is fucked up, bro. Because even in like, cause it's cool. Cause there's like a difference between just getting into an argument with someone because you necessarily like might be hurt about something, versus someone who is actually just revealing and just trying to throw things out about you. Because certain things you just don't say. Because it's one thing in a sense of somebody like being upset with you or someone who you don't even know, but when a person who literally knows you and your boundaries and crosses that line, it kind of pisses you off more than someone who's your enemy.
Yeah,
And
because, like, you feel like they're there for you, and then shit happens, and that's not the case.
man, that is really like a that's literally like a painful thing. Because one thing I've noticed about myself, even the people I've detached from, for some reason, I feel like even the people I detach from is gonna come full circle to where I'm gonna see them again, and we gonna have to have that like combo, what's up, like what
Yeah.
we gotta say to each other. Cause hell, it's certain people that I reconnected with. Like I remember after like a couple years back, like after I graduated, I literally met like reconnected with you a year after I graduated, and honestly, as far as like our friendship, nothing's changed. It's probably got stronger, honestly,
Yeah, yeah,
because it was
definitely.
because it's fine, right? Because it's founded on like real shit, like not some phony, not some phony expectations or hierarchy.
Yeah. Yeah, and even back in the day, I remember us, being very real with each other. We didn't like, if something had to be said, we definitely said it, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I definitely wouldn't have it any other way. Cause so many people are deluded in whatever like they see themselves as is literally like failed them.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also people who just, they cling to this one aspect or idea of life, say they want more, and you could genuinely believe that they want more, but then don't actually put in like any effort for that life. They just cling to what their life already is. You know, you see that a lot with like the party crowd.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cause even like myself, like I'm not necessarily gonna say that nothing necessarily wrong with party in the sense depending on how hard you go. However, you don't necessarily have to hang with these people and whatnot just to make yourself feel like something. Because one thing I noticed, especially even back in like my senior year, all the stuff that happened, it could have been stuff that actually put my life in danger. So, and there was a reason. I'm like, I was actually glad I just avoided hanging out and with certain people and doing certain things, because it could have just cost me my life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there are some people that just they don't know how to stay out of trouble. They just don't. And those are the type of people. It doesn't matter how cool they are. They ain't thinking about their own safety, much less your safety. So sometimes you just gotta cut it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish, and especially like, depending on who your friends are, the people who I wish some people would actually just listen in a sense. But like sometimes you just gotta let people walk their own path, which is the tragedy of it. Because I don't literally have friends who really admitted to me about all the trouble they were getting into or whether they tried drugs for the first time. And I wasn't even mad at that point. I was just disappointed.
Oh, definitely. And then there's also something to be said that, like, if you're sitting there, you're talking about it and shit like this, you ain't ashamed of it. There's part of you that's proud of it, you know?
Yep. But matter of fact, I wasn't even gonna share this ever, but I remember it was like one of my boys. You remember that pill called Molly?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very,
Like he
very
literally legit,
familiar with it, unfortunately.
man. Because I swear, like it was like the like before like prom, like a month before prom, and he made it, and I thought he was joking, saying he said I might be off of Molly, and I'm like, bro, and I'm like, bro, and I was jokingly, but I was serious. I was like, bro, don't do that shit. You gonna wake up naked in a parking lot somewhere. And
Yeah.
he was like, and he legit told me, he's like, Quantel, you know I tried that shit, right? I was like, what the fuck, bro? And he literally said he blacked out and didn't remember a thing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but for
Yeah. Specifically, Molly was, that was the one that my ex was really infamous for.
that's crazy, man, because it almost just makes you look in this, like, just make you look in a sense of, I think there's a reason why they didn't tell me certain things, or they probably avoided talking to me about certain things because they knew that I would tell them like bad kind of shit ain't okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Um,
you definitely see that with those type of people where they either they hide part of themselves to their one friends, and you'll notice a lot of their new friends or even just friends that they make are the type of people to just go with it because the birds of a feather people want to hang out with people that validate and justify that they're thinking.
oh, oh yeah, man, that was like perfectly put, because that's exactly what happened. They literally would just have those kind of people who would just have them doing things to where if they were actually out like around like a whole like they different group of original people that they wouldn't approve of. And I don't know if it made them feel good because they were living like a different kind of perspective in this, like in a way, but it ultimately was for the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was something that I ended up having to talk to my ex about because she was fucking constant said like, oh, well, there's these guys said, oh, this, that. They keep safety on the top as priority. They say it only does this thing. I'm like, and you're taking all of this advice from people who are on these drugs. Like, do you hear how asinine that is?
For real, like it's so like it's so contradicting. It's almost like a person. It's almost like talking to a can. It's almost like talking to a cannibal in a sense, saying that, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with this." Like the health facts are like, of course you gonna say that shit because you like eating humans.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely it goes back to the frickin' type of people who just do things that they know are bad, but all they want is the justification for what they do. And you see it in almost every little thing. Like, I'm sure you've noticed, like, you talk to, like, say someone who, let's get a, like, very minor example of it. You talk to someone who's addicted to nicotine through like vaping or something like that, and you'll notice most of the people they talk to are the same way. You know?
Yeah. Or hell, even the aspect of like drinking or people like who smoke weed. Because I met like plenty of people who actually smoke weed for some reason, and they'll literally all say the same, and their friends are all literally the same way. They'll be like, "Oh, it's not as bad as drinking or snorting coke," and I'm like, "You realize you wake?" I'm like, "You wake up every day and you have to have this." And you even said that one day when you didn't wake up and smoke that you didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So don't you think that it's causing a problem in some way?
Yeah, yeah. Especially when we're talking about weed, there are people who can handle it, you know, in light senses that are just for fun stuff. Do it when they're just around friends and stuff. But I do think, much like with drinking, when it becomes an issue where you know you're constantly doing it, you just have to keep doing it, shit like that. That's where I feel like it becomes an issue. You know,
Oh yeah,
when
oh
your
yeah,
life is built around something, that is when it is an issue.
I definitely agree. Cause I was one of the like points, especially about one of my homies actually talked about as far as weed goes. Cause even though I like, because some people will literally have that argument saying that, oh, it comes from the earth. So like, what's really so bad about it? He was like, literally, almost every drug comes from the earth. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, some of them are made in labs, but there is that inherent factor that like what's in the labs are you know came from the earth.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Though now that we're talking about like drugs and stuff, let's take a trip down Joe Rogan's known experience. What about how do you feel about DMT?
Wait,
Because
the fuck?
this is an interesting drug to talk about.
But like, give me a refresher. What's DNC again?
DMT is well, it's a heavy psychedelic drug, and it's actually what the Native Americans used to use. Like it's what they were smoking around in a circle, and you'd like pass out and envision shit, and that's actually how Native American got their like tribal names, because they'd like smoke this shit, get high off their fucking rockers, start seeing some shit. And like they'd come back and be like, "Yo, dude, I was just dancing with wolves." There it is. Their name's Dancing with Wolves.
That shit is wild. Cause I've heard different things about like those psychotropic hallucinogenics, but I would say I know they say that that junk will mess up your mind, but then I've heard ultimate like other things about it when it comes to like meditation and stuff. Now I've never done it,
Yeah.
and me personally, like I wouldn't do it because I like to have a clear mind, and
Yeah. Same.
why should I have to take this in order to be in touch with my inner spirit? Why can't I just do that on my own?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I know one argument for why DMT is such a big thing and why it's talked about so much is there is actually traces of DMT inside your brain already.
Hmm.
And
That,
that is something that's brought up a lot. So a lot of people think that cuz you see when I say DMT is a hell of a drug, like my buddy who did it told me like he spent 15 minutes being drugged through the layers of hell and shit. Like it was an awful time. It's apparently it's intense.
like that's wild, and it's getting crazier now because literally you'll have the people who will say, "Yo," like who would define the research. Then you'll have, of course, the other people who will be like, "Oh, like you need to stay away from it because these people are whatever." Because it's just basically just become literally a counter argument, like an argument for an argument to whether you should do it or not, and eventually it just becomes like it's ultimately like it's your choice. So especially because there's literally no alter because who literally defines whether it's okay to do it or not? You
I
know what I'm
think
saying?
generally we go almost entirely off of what society says in this day and age. But I
Hmm.
do think you should step back and generally look at side effects and shit like that, judge whether or not you should. Like
Oh yeah.
DMT is one of those things. While it's really intense, it is also very possible to have very lasting effects because of it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Like I was saying, like I definitely had to keep a clear, like I definitely had to keep a clear mind because I've definitely heard people talk about all like spiritual stuff, like how you come get in touch with your spiritual side and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, that sounds all good, but if I can't get it the way I am now, I don't want to use that to get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's definitely something to be said about how these things force you to, respond like that. And that's something I always say about all drugs is all drugs, yeah, they're gonna feel great. That's kind of the point. But like,
Right.
they come at a cost. They're forcing you to feel this way. There's a cost to it.
I def, I definitely agree. That's one thing that honestly, when you put it like that, I don't. I think that most people don't even realize that perspective because literally almost every drug will make you feel, depending on which day, will make you feel good until the side effects and stuff start happening.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you don't feel like one of the most common side effects that you get from almost every drug, and actually, you'll get it same from things that aren't drugs. Like alcohol does it. If you fucking dry scoop pre-workout and get a bunch of energy, it does it too. They force your body to respond in certain ways, and how it's forcing your body to respond isn't like produced out of nowhere. It's taking from your body's reserves. So afterwards, you'll notice you'll get like really depressed. You'll be in a really shitty mood. You really just don't want to deal with shit afterwards.
Oh yeah, because even with people like drinking like pop and stuff like with caffeine in it, like you may be energetic for that time, but as soon as like nighttime hits, you become real tired, real like irky. You just want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, you get that intense like high, and then that high is gone, and not only is the high gone, but your reserves are gone. So now you're just depressed. And actually, I feel that might be one reason why people who regularly drink a lot of caffeine tend to find that eventually it just stops working because your reserves are just fucking shot. Like
yep.
24/7.
That's that's the saying. Like to break it down in that aspect, I never actually thought about it like that because I've actually been like caffeine free for probably about 4 years because I realized like that stuff is literally like good. Then eventually, like when I tried something with it before, it just became nasty because I actually had like a scary experience where I was having like heart palpitations and shit after having
Yeah.
like too much Coca Cola.
Yeah, ouch. That sounds rough.
Yeah, like and the funny and the crazy thing is I didn't even know what it was at first. But after that day, like after like a couple days where I just took to calm down and whatnot and just to flush everything out of my system, like I ain't never drank it again. Cause I'm not one of those people because especially like that's another aspect I wanted to bring up. I'm not one of those people who can go through like one of those like suffering withdrawal kind of phases and just be like, all right, I'm good now. Let me start back up. Like once something happens, I just want to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I will say. It's like people get so like caught up in feelings and stuff, and I definitely am like, even if it was like an intense good feeling, if it's something outside of like my normal feeling, I don't like it. I can't do it again.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I definitely hear that. Cause you can definitely tell cause you can definitely tell like the difference between like when it's something that you may need, like whether it's like a high, like an intense anger, or just being super hype. and you could tell if it's something that you're not used to because it immediately just drains you. That's why I save a lot. I save a lot of my intensity for either like special occasions or probably like emergency situations because that junk will will tear you up.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially in emergency situations, you don't want to be dragging ass during that.
For real. You gotta be you want to be
Yeah, definitely.
you want to be moving through that joint like a marine.
Yeah, you want to fucking you want to get in, get out, or if you're the like type of person try and be a hero, you want to get the person you're saving, get the fuck out of there. You don't want to sit there, pick them up, and go, oh, maybe you could lose a few pounds. Like the fire's fucking surrounding you. Like I don't know, man. Maybe I should just let you run. Feels like you need it.
Right. Hey, yeah, no time for that. Got a Superman that shit.
Yeah, seriously. Like, yeah, if that shit's you're supposed to be full of adrenaline. You ain't even supposed to know that you're fucking heavy. You in the bit surrounded by fire and shit. You pick someone up and you're like, oh shit, fuck. Then you've done. You ain't got what you need to get through that time.
For real.
Go to pick the bitch up when the fire's like about to collapse the building. You're like, all right, cool. Oh, I'm out. Just hold my hand. We'll run together.
Like, hey, like team, like you try to make up some excuse, like, come on, work as a team.
Come on, walk with
Man,
me. I'll show you the way out.
for real.
Yeah. Though we are coming up on the 2 hour mark, and it is starting to feel like our topics are starting to get a bit, you know, worn out. So I definitely think it might be time to wrap up this week.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a great time talking, and we will definitely be back with more.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. This is only the first episode, first controversial topic. I'm sure we'll be bringing them back to you rapid fire. Um, Wednesday seemed like a good time for you. Just want to keep it on Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah, that should be pretty solid for me. And if something happens, I'll definitely let you know.
All right, definitely sounds like a plan. So, this has been, Truths Out of Context Quan, and thanks for tuning in on the first episode of On the Rebound.
Yes, sir. Peace.